Chicago's mental health system is broken. Public mental health clinics have closed, and the violent CPD responds to mental health emergencies. One of the socialist aldermen on city council is trying to change all that.
Chicago had originally 19 public mental health clinics under Mayor Daley. They were reduced to 12. Then Mayor Emanuel, as we all know, closed down 6 more clinics. One of the clinics got essentially privatized. So we have 5 mental health clinics that still run publicly in the city of Chicago. There is very little access to mental health at a time when we need it so much. One of the things that we're fighting for is to reopen the mental health clinics. That was my first fight, I would say, in city council. We really tried to convince the administration to invest in the public mental health clinics. The argument that they gave us was that the clinics were underutilized, that people were not using the clinics. And we asked, so why are people not using the clinics? If we have this big need, like if we are saying we want to invest this money on mental health because people don't have access to mental health, why are the clinics underutilized? I mean, the reality is that the mental health clinics are being broken on purpose because of these neoliberal ideas and policies that want to get the government out of being a service provider. So we continue trying to rely on privatized services, rely on the nonprofit industrial complex.
Unsurprisingly, the neighborhoods most affected by Chicago's austerity are poor, Black, and immigrant communities. The same communities disproportionately targeted by police.
We have a lot of segregation, so a lot of our neighborhoods are Black neighborhoods, a lot of our neighborhoods are brown neighborhoods, and the city has decided that the way to deal with those communities is by using policing, and they can't imagine that it can be in a different way, right? They can actually provide services to care for people.
Mayor Lightfoot has proposed a reform. Under the co-responder model, police would still respond to mental health crises, but accompanied by social workers. As Alderwoman Rodriguez explains, this is a right-wing compromise.
This model that the mayor has put forward, it is exactly the same approach that President Trump put forward as part of police reform. You have somebody that is under on a very stressful situation. So you take somebody that is on the edge, experiencing anxiety, experiencing any kind of mental health crisis, and you add to that equation an armed officer. If who you are talking about is a brown or Black person in Chicago going through a mental health crisis, and you bring an armed officer, I think that the first thing that most Black people would think is, I might get killed.
Alderwoman Rodriguez has backed a plan called Treatment, Not Trauma. The plan would reopen Chicago's public mental health clinics and employ social workers to respond to mental health emergencies.
The Treatment Not Trauma ordinance, we can expand the scope of services, right? We can attach mobile crisis units to each one of the mental health clinics, and then we can send these crisis units into the community to find the people who most need the services and their families. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. I don't know why I'm being fought on this. Mayor Lightfoot said this on her budget address. And I feel like she was talking directly at me. She said, Chicago is not some town in Oregon. And that is an argument that I continue to hear. Like, oh, Chicago, Chicago is not Portland. Chicago is not Eugene. You can't compare. Why? Let's break it down, because I have a feeling that the argument for this is actually a racist argument. And I'm going to say that out loud. People who are suffering because of poverty are not different because they are in Eugene, Oregon, or because they are in Chicago. They are people.